This is Christine Sohmer of MassapequaNews.com. For the news week beginning May 22nd, 2007, with me is Mike from Sergio's. Welcome.
Thank you.
You have been a staple in this community for many, many years.
Yeah,
How long have you been in this community?
41 years.
41 years.
Since 1966.
And how did you get started?
Oh, well, I was started with a trip from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Back in 1966 to Long Island.
I was just a year old back then.
It's kind of a long story. It seems like it was yesterday. We kind of we made a trip to Long Island to visit my Uncle Bernie, who lived in Amityville.
Yes.
And at the time he worked as a waiter in Amados, a small restaurant in Amityville, 348 Merrick Road, back in 1966. And I tell you, it was a great experience, you know, coming from Brooklyn and seeing the beautiful trees and check out the island.
So coming from the city, Long Island was a whole nother climate for you.
It's like you coming to country, you know. I say to myself, you know, this looks too good to be true. So, you know, I say, I wonder what it would take to get out of Brooklyn, really, you know, come out to Long Island, you know, stay here, you know, be around trees instead of the old buildings and stuff, you know. And,
you mentioned Amados, almost like the guy from Amados was your mentor.
Well, he was kind of my teacher, my father, my everything in my life practically, because, you know.
He helped shape who you are today.
My uncle suggested that, you know, I get out of Brooklyn. Why don't you come to Long Island, you know? And he was a waiter at the time in Amados. He says, you know, I was at the time I was 13 years old, and
just a kid. I mean, you're still in school.
He says, why don't you start as a coffee boy, you know? He says he got me a job in Amados as a coffee boy, you know, in the kitchen, you know, making coffee orders to go in the dining room.
Yes.
And you know, from then on, you know, everything was history. You know, I come out of Brooklyn, stay in my uncle's house. You know, he got me into Amados, and from then on, it was like, you know.
You spent how many years with Amados?
Amados, 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years in Amados. And,
you went from being a coffee boy to...
Coffee boy, got promoted to bus boy, and then a cook after that, and from cook, a waiter, kind of bartender, then maitre d', and you know.
And then you
it was a great experience, you know. I'm learning everything from Amados. He was a great teacher, you know, and a great man to work for, and I tell you, it was a really wonderful experience, you know.
So having a positive role model in your life helped you start your own business.
As I'm working in the kitchen, you know, making coffee orders, I was sneaking to the kitchen and check out Mrs. Amato, you know, do the cooking, you know, and I check out my cousin Rick.
Oh, you were checking them out to learn.
I learned by watching. Not,
yes.
You know, I didn't learn, you know. So, you know, I'm always watching what the guy did in the oven. I always enjoy watching what the guy did on the saute in the stove. I always enjoy what Mrs. Amato did on her station, you know. Until one day, you know, after I got promoted to be a bus boy on the floor, you know, they needed a guy in the kitchen, you know. One of the cooks was sick, and he says, well, I get somebody. And Mr. Amato, kind of nervous, he says, how am I going to do this? I need a guy on the stove and the saute pan, you know. So I said to him, I could do that job. He says, how? You never worked the kitchen. You never learned. He said, you know. I said, give me a try. I said, try me. So I got on the stove, and Mrs. Amato's doing her thing on the grill, you know, making the bread and that. I'm at the stove here, chicken Jamaica, lobster fried yam, you know. I said, try me, you know. From then on, you know, it's like weekdays bussing, weekends in the kitchen, you know, cooking, you know what I mean? And then.
So you took everything you learned from your teachers at Amados, started Sergio's, and you do things differently here. You're not just a restaurant.
Oh yeah,
You've got fun dining.
We do everything too. Shows,
I've been here
mysteries.
During the Frank Sinatra tribute.
Oh yeah.
During the Elvis impersonator.
Elvis, murder mysteries monthly.
Right.
Murder mystery comedy shows, oh sure.
So you're doing things differently here.
Oh, well, different than what we did there, sure. You know what happened as well, you know, as I work on the floor, you know, I watch him how he make the drinks too, so I became a good bartender too, so, you know. When you get into the restaurant business, you must learn a little bit of everything. You have to know how to cook, you have to know how to be a bartender, you have to know, you know, how to deal with people, have the dining room, you know.
Yes.
You don't learn everything, you know, you don't know everything in the business, you're really in trouble, you know.
Right.
So let me tell you, it was a great experience throughout the years, you know, since the early years, you know. Frank Sinatra pick me up in the morning at my uncle's house, you know, take me to a diner, have breakfast, and then go to the restaurant and prepare, you know, the broccoli, make the sauce, you know.
Right.
He was a great teacher. He was like a father to me, you know.
Nice.
And I learned everything from him, you know. And
so you have him to thank for getting
definitely.
started.
I learned everything from him, you know, and I learned the business from him, cooking, you know, how to make. He was like, really, he was my father to me, you know. I grew up with him, you know, following his footsteps, you know.
What would you say to him today?
Unfortunately, he's not around. He passed away, you know, quite a few years ago. I would say about 12 years ago. But I will always thank him for everything he did for me. He taught me how to be a gentleman, and he told me what was right, and he told me, you know, how to work hard, how to treat people the right way, and he taught me the business real well.
Yes.
And you know, unfortunately, I would have stayed with him for all my life, you know, if he was around. But he got sick and passed on, you know. And unfortunately, the kids take over. Things change, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the kids take over. They don't run things like, you know, like the parents, you know. So,
what can we expect at Sergio's
Sergio's
in the upcoming near future?
You can expect a great service and great food, and you know, treat you like you're at home.
We can find you right on the MassapequaNews.com dining page.
Yes.
Link right into your website and see some of your pricing and party specials.
Homemade soups, homemade pastas, you know, homemade sauce, you know, everything is fresh to order, you know. You
and world-class service.
Come and request, and make any request that we make for you. From tripe to pasta vazul, the best soups, the Italian waiting soups, you know, chicken escargot soup. We have great lobster ravioli, alla vodka with shrimp. And
you taught me one of the best lessons in business, and I don't even think you know it. You ready?
Go ahead.
I sent one of my salespeople in to have you come on board and advertise with MassapequaNews.com. And you said to her, I don't know you. You don't eat in my restaurant. You want my business? You want my business? Give me your business. But you know what? You're right.
It could be a tough
because if I'm not supporting you, why should I ask for your support?
Well, I believe one hand washes the other hand, both hands washes the face, you know.
All of us should be that way. All of us should be doing business that way. Am I right or wrong? So thank you for teaching me an incredibly valuable lesson in business that I will live by for the rest of my life. You had your teachers.
That's how I feel.
You're one of my teachers.
Right.
Okay,
you know,
Mike.
one thing we do at Sergio's is we like people, when they come to Sergio's, we want them to feel at home and to feel comfortable. And you know, when they come to Sergio's, we like them to stay with Sergio's, you know.
Yeah.
And
it's like family.
For years to come.
You fight like family.
Oh yes. We like to take care of people. I believe in one thing, you know, if I cannot do the right thing for my customers, I stay home.
Yes.
You know,
Good
if I
point.
can come to my business and put 100% into it, you know, take care of people the way they should be treated, you know.
Yes.
I stay home instead, you know, that's how they feel, you know.
Okay,
You
Mike.
don't enjoy what you do, stay home. Don't tell them it's going to be a long journey.
Very good point. Okay, Mike, thank you so much for coming on MassapequaNews.com.
It's a pleasure.
I have a feeling you're going to be a regular, because people are going to want to hear from you on a regular basis.
That'll be nice.
And we'll see you at the Elvis impersonator. We'll see you at the Frank Sinatra tribute and some of our private parties.
Murder mystery shows too.
Murder mystery.
Murder mysteries monthly, yes.
Thank you. Have a great week, Massapequa.
My pleasure. Thank you.